When most Americans think about independence, they think of 4th of July, 1776. We eat our hot dogs, wave our flags, and fireworks go off. The sky lights up in red, white, and blue. But here in Texas, our story is different. Texas was never ruled by Great Britain. Our fight for independence came from another place, Mexico. In the early 1800s, Texas wasn't Texas yet. It was Spanish territory. Wild, vast, and barely settled by any Europeans. Then, in 1821, Mexico won its independence from Spain. Suddenly, Texas became part of this brand new country. Mexico wanted settlers to develop the land, so they created a system of empresarios, men who would be granted land in exchange for bringing families to Texas. One of the most famous was Stephen F. Austin, often called the father of Texas. Austin helped bring hundreds of settlers and establish San Felipe de Austin, which became a hub for Anglo-American immigration into Texas. At first, it seemed like a good deal, but as more settlers came, cultural clashes grew. Texans spoke English, not Spanish, and they were used to a local self-rule, not a central government far away in Mexico City. And one of the sharpest conflicts was slavery. Mexico had abolished slavery in 1829. But many Anglo settlers came from South United States and brought enslaved people with them. To settlers, Mexico's anti-slavery laws felt like a threat to their livelihood. To Mexican leaders, settlers were ignoring their country's laws. Then came Antonio López de Santa Anna. At first, he presented himself as a federalist, supporting states' rights. But when he rose to power, he threw out Mexico's Constitution of 1824 and made himself a dictator. He demanded absolute control, and for many Texans, both Anglo settlers and Tejanos, that was the breaking point. By 1835, the situation erupted into open rebellion. The first shots of the Texas Revolution were fired at the Battle of Gonzales, when Mexican soldiers tried to reclaim a small cannon given to the settlers for defense. The Texans raised the flag that read, "Come and take it," and after a brief fight, the Mexicans retreated. It was a small battle, but it lit the spark of revolution. Only a few months later, delegates met at Washington on the Brazos. On March 2, 1836, they signed the Texas Declaration of Independence, declaring Texas a free and independent republic. But even as they signed, fighting was still raging. At the Alamo in San Antonio, fewer than 200 Texan defenders, including names like Davy Crockett, William B. Travis, and James Bowie. Santa Anna's troops waited for 13 days before attacking on March 16th. The Texan army was ultimately overwhelmed, but their sacrifice gave the revolution a rallying cry. Remember the Alamo. Years earlier, the Mexican Congress had passed a law stating that anyone who took up arms against the Republic would be executed without trial. Not long after, at Goliad, nearly 400 Texan prisoners were executed under Santa Anna's orders, in what became known as the Goliad Massacre. The Mexican general who had originally granted the Texan prisoners of war status was actually defying the law. So when Santa Anna ordered the executions, he was enforcing a policy that already existed. It may have been harsh, but legal under Mexican authority at the time. News of what happened at Goliad spread quickly, and it fueled outrage across Texas. For many settlers, it confirmed that the conflict had reached a point of no return. As Santa Anna's army advanced, Texan settlers fled eastward in what was called the Runaway Scrape. Most of us grew up hearing terrorizing stories that Mexican troops were burning down towns and threatening civilians. The story paints it as a desperate escape for safety, but the reality was very different. Settlers with their slaves were racing towards Louisiana, afraid that Santa Anna would free them under Mexican law. Santa Anna's troops did not burn homes or towns, nor did they harm civilians. In fact, the fear that spread among settlers came from their own efforts to keep enslaved people from running towards the Mexican army, which promised them freedom. The version of the story that is often told has survived because it preserves a heroic myth rather than acknowledging that slavery played a central role in the conflict. As settlers pushed east, Sam Houston's army was moving in a different direction, straight toward the fight that would decide it all, the Battle of San Jacinto. On April 21, 1836, General Sam Houston led his outnumbered Texan army in a surprise attack on Santana's forces. In just 18 minutes, the battle was won. The Texans shouted, "Remember the Alamo! Remember Goliad!" and they stormed the Mexican camp. Santana himself was captured the next day, disguised in a soldier's uniform. Under pressure, Santana signed the Treaty of Velasco, which marked the end of the fighting. After years of tension and months of brutality fighting, Texas was free. Even after Texas declared itself free, the story didn't end there. Slavery expanded rapidly during the years of the Republic, and many Texans remained afraid that Mexico, where slavery was illegal, might try to take the region back. That uncertainty lingered for more than a decade. It wasn't until 12 years after Texas declared its independence that the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed, officially settling the border and bringing Mexico's claim to an end. For nearly a decade, Texas stood as its own nation, the Republic of Texas, before joining the United States in 1845. But that's another story. So yes, we celebrate the 4th of July as Americans, but if we're talking about the real Texas independence, the day is March 2nd, 1836, the day Texas declared itself free, and the day a new nation was born.